Today is December 23rd, 2020, and this is the news in a puppy. By far the most important political news of the day, outgoing President Trump has rejected the bipartisan stimulus bill, indicating that the amount of funds being funneled into individual taxpayers' pockets was too low. The planned $600 payment would not suffice in providing millions of Americans the assistance they so sorely need.
The bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done. Thank you very much.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California on Wednesday dared congressional Republicans to block an effort to unanimously pass legislation that would provide $2,000 direct payments to millions of Americans, trying to drive a wedge in the opposition by taking up President Trump's call to expand the checks. And she tweeted support of the president's call for additional relief aid, stating, "Mr. President, sign the bill to keep the government open. Urge McConnell and McCarthy to agree with the Democratic unanimous consent request for $2,000 direct payments. This can be done by noon on Christmas Eve." Mr. Trump's threat on Tuesday night to reject a $2.3 trillion spending and coronavirus relief package over the size of the planned $600 checks was a Christmas gift to Ms. Pelosi and a huge challenge to his party. The president effectively presented Republicans a choice: side with him and some of the Democrats' most liberal members, or stick with their congressional leaders. Speaking of the stimulus bill, we've heard a number of questions regarding whom will get the relief, when might it arrive, and whether or not the checks will be deposited via direct deposit. We answer some of these direct questions below. So in terms of who will receive the payment, right now, individual adults with adjusted gross income on their 2019 tax returns of up to $75,000 a year will receive a $600 payment. And heads of households making up to $112,500 and a couple or someone whose spouse died in 2020 earning up to $150,000 a year would get twice that amount. If they have dependent children, they would also get $600 for each child. People with incomes just above these levels would receive a partial payment that declines by $5 for every $100 in income. In terms of when you can expect to receive the payment, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin told CNBC on Monday that he expected the first payments to go out before the end of the year, but it will be a while before all eligible people receive their money. And regarding whether or not the money will be deposited via direct deposit, for many recipients, yes, they will receive the aid via direct deposit. As with the first round of stimulus, however, the government will also issue payments via paper check and prepaid benefit cards. In COVID news, the United Kingdom imposed tighter virus rules on much of England, citing concern about the spread of a new variant. Struggling to limit the spread of a potentially more infectious variant of the coronavirus, the British government ordered more sections of England to be placed under the most restrictive lockdown measures on Wednesday, as health officials said severely curtailing human contact was the only way to protect people. The new variant makes everything so much harder because it spreads so much faster, the British Health Secretary Matt Hancock said at a news conference. Two variants, the one detected in the United Kingdom and another in South Africa, are currently being studied by scientists, and while early indications suggest that they are both more transmissible, more laboratory tests are needed to gain a fuller understanding of the dangers they pose. In the United States, the Trump administration and Pfizer reached a deal to bolster the supply of the coronavirus vaccine made by Pfizer and BioNTech for the United States by 100 million doses by the end of July. The new agreement means the companies will supply the United States with a total of 200 million doses, enough to vaccinate 100 million Americans. The additional shots will cost $1.95 billion, the companies said. The agreement, announced on Wednesday, would help the United States at least partly offset a looming vaccine shortage that could leave millions of American adults uncovered in the first half of 2021. In final news, on Tuesday, the Justice Department sued Walmart for what it said was the company's role in fueling the nation's opioid crisis by allowing its network of pharmacies to fill millions of prescriptions for opioids, thousands of which authorities said were suspicious. The 160-page civil complaint alleges that Walmart knew its system for detecting questionable prescriptions was inadequate and details numerous instances when employees warned federal authorities and company managers about suspicious prescriptions. As one of the largest pharmacy chains and wholesale drug distributors in the country, Walmart had the responsibility and the means to help prevent the diversion of prescription opioids, Jeffrey Bossert Clark, acting Assistant Attorney General of the Justice Department's Civil Division, said in a statement. Instead, for years, it did the opposite, filling thousands of invalid prescriptions at its pharmacies and failing to report suspicious orders of opioids and other drugs placed by those pharmacies. The lawsuit is a significant escalation in the government's efforts to hold major pharmacy chains responsible for their role in the opioid crisis.